Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International. It's Monday, the 29th of September 2025, and we're on to program number 1458 of the Lunchroom. I'm your host, Calix George Jr. In addition to radio, 101.1 FM, you can also get us at our website, rcistlucia.com, and we are streaming live on Facebook. You just have to search for the official page of Radio Caribbean International. And we are also streaming on YouTube if you want that option as well. So please check us out there. Of course, the numbers to call in to tell us what's on your plates today, they are 452-3046. Again, 452-3046. And you can also reach us at our WhatsApp number, 724-0008. Again, 724-0008. We want to send out some birthday greetings today. First to Mr. Kareem Larcher. Happy birthday to you, sir. Hope you're having a fantastic day and an enjoyable one. We also want to send out some birthday greetings to Miss Akela Didier. Happy birthday to you, Akela. And we do hope that you're having a very wonderful birthday celebration. Also to Mr. Jason Schalmine. Happy birthday to you, sir. And we do hope that you're having a very pleasant and blessed day. And also to a classmate of mine over in New York, Mr. Ralston Lawrence. And of course, Raul, we do hope that you're having a splendid day. No doubt, I'm sure that you will be. And wishing you the very best on your very special day. A look back in time on this day. A very famous Battle of Salamis, which was fought in the year 480 BC, occurred. And that involved the Greek fleet under Themistocles, seeing the defeat of the great Persian fleet under their king Xerxes I. In the year 1567, on this day, September the 29th, the War of Religion broke out in France as Huguenots tried to kidnap King Charles IX. 1829, on this day, saw the first units of the London Metropolitan Police appear on the streets of the British capital of London, and that was the city's first modern police force. And in the year 2008, on this day, the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell by 777.68 points, its then largest single-day point loss following the bankruptcies of Lehman Brothers and Washington Mutual. Of course, that great economic financial crisis of 2008. We now head across to our dish of the day.
Every bed in our hospitals tells a story of someone's mother, someone's brother, someone's friend. And when that story of care is complete, it's time for the next chapter, home. But too often, discharged patients are left waiting hours, days, weeks, sometimes months, not because they want to stay, but because no one comes. We understand life gets busy, but every extra day they wait means another patient, perhaps in pain, perhaps in crisis, can't get the bed they desperately need. So when the call comes that your loved one is ready, please be ready too. Pick them up, bring them back to the comfort of family, where healing truly continues. Because caring doesn't end at discharge, it continues with you. A message from the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs.
Serving now, the Daily Dish.
And welcome back to the lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. And certainly a breath of fresh air coming out of the recreation park down in VA4. Of course, we know that famous song, Oh Danny Boy. And of course, that was perhaps going to be the new meter for VA4 South, with a new candidate being posted by the ruling party, the St. Lucia Labour Party. Of course, VA4 South has been one of those somewhat, I guess you could say, stronghold seats of the St. Lucia Labour Party, alongside that of Laborie and VA4 North. those two in particular never leaving the hands of the St. Lucia Labour Party. And of course, very interesting moments yesterday against a massive crowd down near Sandy Beach, taking it all in at that recreation ground. The handover from a former prime minister to a brand new candidate, a young, newly minted candidate of the St. Lucia Labour Party, that of Mr. Danny Butcher. Lots of emotions, no doubt, for the family of Mr. Butcher, his friends, and of course the people of VA4, his supporters, because certainly Dr. Kenny Anthony had been the representative of VA4 since 1997. That major, excuse me, wave of change at that time, what was in fact then branded as New Labour. And one would recall that the St. Lucia Labour Party had been in the political wilderness effectively since 1982. And even within that window, a very short window of 3 years between 1979 and 1982, before that, again another 15 years under the hands of the late John Compton. And of course, that major shift in the politics of St. Lucia was, one could best describe it as certainly cataclysmic or tremendous, because there was a significant tide of support heading to the Labour Party under Dr. Kenny Anthony back in the year 1997, the end of the Compton era. And at that time, although the United Workers' Party brought in an individual who was seen, of course, as having a tremendous amount of capacity in the person of Dr. Vaughan Lewis, who had formerly been the Director General of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS, it still did not hold in terms of the concerns of the people at that time, giving the St. Lucia Labour Party a 16-1 majority, the highest ever thus far in St. Lucian politics. It'll be very interesting, of course, to see how things continue to pan out, as both parties are, of course, claiming victory already. And that is normal in politics. You'll find that parties will always want to be exuding confidence, trying to gain momentum, trying to capture the people who sort of go with the flow in elections, and look to see where their support may lie. But of course, there is always that risk that if you put yourself into this image that you're in a very comfortable position, sometimes the supporters take things for granted, and they may decide all is well, and their vote really doesn't count as much. And of course, that's a very dangerous circumstance, very dangerous situation for parties when they may get too comfortable, or the narrative sinks in to the extent that people believe all will be okay, all will be all right in the morning. And quite often, of course, that is not the case. We've also seen in the past where you've had bumper crowds, massive crowds coming out, and the result may very well be speaking of a different message. And that is perhaps what may have occurred back in 2006, when individuals saw a massive crowd supporting the ruling party, lots of support coming out into the rallies, largest rallies ever. And lo and behold, there was regime change. There was a change in the decision of the electorate at that time towards the United Workers' Party when Sir John Compton returned. So you do have to be very mindful that at the end of the day, crowds do not win elections. And certainly it really has to be, at the end of the day, what people decide in the ballot box, what they decide in that voting booth. And so, of course, we'll have to wait to see when that moment may be. Of course, lots of speculation regarding that matter. Lots of people believing that it would be triggered by the opening of St. Jude Hospital. Many out there thinking that this long-standing project of over 16 years has certainly been the death knell in the coffin of many government gone by, and perhaps nothing short of a complete reopening of St. Jude would satisfy the voter public. And one can understand perhaps the concerns regarding that, because it has certainly been such a political football over the past couple of years, and still remains this major outstanding project that the country has not been able to realize. Of course, you did hear in the past politicians making the statements that if they should not be able to achieve the opening of St. Jude, they should not be speaking. But of course, they still are speaking, and we are still seeing St. Jude Hospital being utilized as a major issue in that regard. Lots of progress seeming to be made, however, in respect of St. Jude, and I think we actually do have a bit of a clip coming out of Choice TV from the contractor, Mr. Reno Kajada, speaking on the matter of St. Jude Hospital. And he is in fact, let's see, I think we got that clip there somewhere. Let me just make sure that we've got it lined up. But it's effectively speaking to the challenges with respect to that of the hospital, and how that has been delayed, unfortunately, due to the well, I guess you could say administrative issues, and as well as the challenge of logistics being a problem. So just trying to get that clip lined up. If you could just bear with us for just a moment here, so that we could pull it up and get to it. Thought we had it lined up, but unfortunately it doesn't seem like we do. But either way, we'll come back to that at some point. Either way. Of course, lots of other issues for the electric down in VA4, and the matter of the economy and, of course, infrastructure is certainly very important for a place like VA4. VA4 has long been hailed as the new frontier, the place where the fortunes of St. Lucia will turn, the tide will turn, and we'll see great hope. And unfortunately for many in VA4, they've been sorely disappointed over the years, promised many times over projects, from Honeymoon Beach and developments in that area. In fact, it goes way back, even before that. And perhaps you could look at even the arrival of the United States during World War II, and the impact that had on VA4 and the infrastructure in VA4, in terms of the road network, in terms of the army base that was built, the hospital. And again, VA4 just came alive for some years and then just went into this sort of comatose state. Of course, the hope coming out of the 1960s was that VA4 would have been developed into St. Lucia's second city. And lots of plans there for through the Canadian government, who were funding already the international airport, creating of an international airport out of Beanfield. Lots of investment coming in there, but also trying to utilize the available land resources in V4 to foster growth in tourism as well as in industry and manufacturing. Unfortunately, although you did see some factory shells being built by the NDC, which was purposely set up back in the 1970s for the development of VA4, the land being vested into the NDC, it meant that a lot of the people in VA4 still remained landless, and it was certainly a major challenge for them to be able to, for the growth of the housing stock to keep up with the demands of a burgeoning population during the 1960s, 70s, and 80s. And so still a major challenge, especially down in the old town of V4, in terms of housing. And so areas like the Back of Dare, areas like what were formerly Shanty Town, now redubbed Bruceville, as well as Westall Group. Those areas, lots of unplanned development occurring because people had no land, and of course the issue of squatting really is and remains a major challenge in the VA4 area, and how to best utilize these lands for the benefit of economic development. We have not done a very good job of it, in all honesty, over the years, and certainly with many failed projects and projects that have really tied the hands now of development. In the case of DSH, great promises, a promise of US $2.7 billion worth of investment has really not come to pass. And effectively, as a result of that framework agreement signed by the former administration and Desert Star Holdings, tying up a lot of the best lands for the development of VA4. Still a matter outstanding that needs to be dealt with. Will it be dealt with through the courts? Will it be dealt with through arbitration? We'll have to wait and see, but certainly not working out in terms of the benefit of the people of VA4 and, of course, the people of the South by extension. So there's lots to look at and lots to consider with respect to development in the South, and the need for a proper plan, a master plan for the South still remains critical to addressing the spatial, economic, and social needs of that part of the island. Now, let's head to that's our dish of the day, and let's then take in our weather report, and then we'll come back to continue our program.
This has been The Daily Dish.
Every bed in our hospitals tells a story of someone's mother, someone's brother, someone's friend. And when that story of care is complete, it's time for the next chapter, home. But too often, discharged patients are left waiting hours, days, weeks, sometimes months, not because they want to stay, but because no one comes. We understand life gets busy, but every extra day they wait means another patient, perhaps in pain, perhaps in crisis, can't get the bed they desperately need. So when the call comes that your loved one is ready, please be ready too. Pick them up, bring them back to the comfort of family, where healing truly continues. Because caring doesn't end at discharge, it continues with you. A message from the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs.
It's now time for our weather report, brought to you by Island Style.
Girl, I've been so stressed searching for the perfect tiles to complete my home.
Really?
Yeah, it's always the same white, beige, and gray tiles with the style stores. Like they're all buying from the same place. You're the design expert. Help me, please. I'm fed up.
What are you looking for?
Something different. Something that says Caribbean beauty and suits my personality. Something vibrant and classy with a little razzle-dazzle.
Okay, Ms. Razzle Dazzle, I know just the place. place. Island Style Tile and Bath, they're my number one store for everything tile. And with their new In Living Color collection, you'll find the most gorgeous styles to give you that splash of Caribbean flair you're looking for.
That sounds perfect.
I'll even take you myself and throw in a free design consultation.
I'll never say no to that, sis. I can't afford you anyway.
Visit our Island Style showrooms in Castries, Rodney Bay, and View Fort, or call 450-452 or 453 Tile. We'll help bring your vision to life in living color.
This is Radio Caribbean International. It's now time for the weather news.
And the forecast for St. Lucia valid for the next 24 hours. Winds will be blowing from between the east and east-southeast near 17 miles per hour or 20 or 28 kilometers per hour. Weather fair and hazy, becoming cloudy at times with a few showers. Forecast for the Lesser Antilles. Fair and hazy, becoming cloudy at times with a few scattered showers. The tropical weather outlook. The tropical high pressure system is expected to generate moderate easterly to east-southeasterly winds flow across the Lesser Antilles. Meanwhile, weak unstable conditions in the low atmosphere will cause cloudiness with showers over the region during the forecast period. A tropical wave located over the central tropical Atlantic is moving westward near 15 miles per hour or 24 kilometers per hour. And that is your weather report, brought to you by Island Style.
This has been RCI's Weather News. For more information, call the Weather Hotline at 454-3452. RCI 101 number 1.
Girl, I've been so stressed searching for the perfect tiles to complete my home.
Really?
Yeah, it's always the same white, beige, and gray tiles with the style stores. Like they're all buying from the same place. You're the design expert. Help me, please. I'm fed up.
What are you looking for?
Something different. Something that says Caribbean beauty and suits my personality. Something vibrant and classy with a little razzle dazzle.
Okay, Ms. Razzle Dazzle, I know just the place. Island Style Tile and Bath, they're my number one store for everything tile. And with their new In Living Color collection, you'll find the most gorgeous styles to give you that splash of Caribbean flair you're looking for.
That sounds perfect.
I'll even take you myself and throw in a free design consultation.
I'll never say no to that, sis. I can't afford you anyway.
Visit our Island Style showrooms in Castries, Rodney Bay, and View Fort, or call 450-452 or 453 Tile. We'll help bring your vision to life in living color.
And welcome back to the Lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. Of course, if you want to call in to tell us what's on your plate today, you can do just that. And we're going to head to the phone lines at this time to take in some calls. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Lunchroom, and what's on your plate today?
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, caller. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I need to ask some questions. The first one, did they really need to seek permission to recreate that recreation park yesterday?
Oh, I don't know what eventually happened. I suppose the organizers may want to come out and explain what happened. But there was a letter circulating, I think when it was for Jazz this year. And indicating that, in fact, for that event, it appears that there was some correspondence with the representatives of DSH regarding the property for use, because I think that property in question is sometimes used for Jazz in the South.
Okay.
Right, and so they did seem to ask for permission. I'm not sure if it was actually granted or not. That it doesn't seem as if the tone of the letter, the response was favorable.
Okay.
So, but what can we say? We know that we saw a launch happen at that location. So one can assume that if in fact the request was made, then maybe if at all it was made, that it was granted.
Okay.
So either way, yeah, that is what it is. But like I said, as far as I was aware, the land in question
was listed to DSH.
Well, wait. Let me just. It was. I don't know that it was leased to DSH, but it was part of the framework agreement, which was signed by the government of St. Lucia.
Oh, all right.
And that framework agreement effectively earmarks lands, right, for DSH, so that DSH could lease or buy or purchase, right?
Okay.
There were the sections that I know for sure that ended up being leased was where the race course is, right, which is at Beausejour. And I believe there was also some purchase of lands adjoining that. Adjoining the race course, the racetrack, right?
All right.
So we're speaking of lands in the Mont Beausejour, another part, Settlebert, area of Vieux-Fort to the north of the racetrack. I believe there were lands, in fact, that were purchased as well. So in total, I think you might be speaking about maybe about 500 acres in that area. But then there were another two sites which had been identified. One was the Sandy Beach area, inclusive of that recreation park, and there was also the Il Pirata area, so the area west of the town of Vieux-Fort, where the Marine police have their base. You know, they use that area for stockpiling of material, sand and what have you. That area there is also another site that had been identified. I believe they had removed the Makote mangrove, because at one point they were actually including that part as well.
Okay.
I believe it was removed. So effectively, although it may not have been leased, there may still be basically an interest that has been given by a legal agreement by the government to say, hey, this land is earmarked for you, right? And only you would have to. So in other words, if the government tries to say to lease it to somebody else, I'm not sure how that would what would happen in that situation, or use it for another purpose. And you see, it's really a legal matter at that point. I think legally, though, to me, it's owned by Invest St. Lucia, but Invest St. Lucia has commitments to DSH. That is the tie-up situation, I think, in terms of that. So
according to the agreements that was signed with DSH and the government, it will be a very tough thing for them to be able to get back those lands, to the government to get back those lands and do what they have to do with it. I mean, all the agreements that were signed, and we've not even taken into consideration the fact that you may have problems.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, this would have to probably end up in some level of arbitration, as to which side, blinks first, or which side goes to see what can happen. And but I mean, it's just simply not in the interest of the state to have such critical lands being held up, suspended,
tied in courts and all
at this time. For example, the area to the west of Vieux-Fort, there along that highway, it's waterfront property you're talking about, very valuable. There have been proposals for doing marinas and hotels and conference facilities and all that kind of stuff in that area. And I mean, so it really is a holdup. Now, I mean, like I said, it would be good to get that out of the way, and so that, in terms of moving forward, the country can decide how it can properly develop Vieux-Fort, because...
But it will be tough for them to do. It is going to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, and there are a lot of other issues. I mean, the meat processing facilities, another glaring example. This was one of the babies of the former Minister of Agriculture, Mr. Ezekiel Joseph. And I don't know how he feels about it, but, to have this, a project over $20 million spent, Taiwanese grants, and we talk about caring about our partners, international partners. Grant funding was used to build that meat processing facility, and it has literally languished because you have some agreement which talks about a disease-free zone, and it's really a travesty. It really is a travesty. I mean, one would have thought that, and we were promised. Remember, we were promised another meat processing facility. That has not come to pass.
Up in Mekode side.
Well, eventually, there was a livestock, right? So because of the fact that the Boseju Agricultural Station was closed, we had to now look for additional lands, which I think was purchased through monies from the NIC, in fact, to purchase land at Volet in Miku for the relocation of the agricultural station, the livestock station. But then in terms of the meat processing facility, what has come to that? I mean, that's a significant amount of money. You're not talking about 200,000, 2 million, $20+ million spent in that. I mean, which could have done so much for the sector.
I mean, those people did not read what they were doing, read the agreements and everything. Because to me, something like that would not have passed with somebody like Gaston Brown, Ralph Gonsalves, or any of those people. Something like that would not have gotten through. And if, though, by some mistake, something would have come out of that. Because I just find that was too much to be given away. And people's hands are tied. The lands are needed to develop the place and all sorts of things.
And Caller, this is why we need to change the style at which how we do business when it comes to these kind of development agreements and partnerships, PPPs, all of that. These things need to get proper public scrutiny. They need public scrutiny. They need public consultation. Right, because there are implications. Invariably, there will be some implications where some people may be impacted, and they need to be protected, and their interest needs to be protected.
Yeah, right? But then why, when the others, when they came in, they did not continue with the public consultation and all those things? They signed very, very quickly, as if it's just not before thinking, just signing quickly and giving over. Come on, you should have taken.
Well, unfortunately, Caller, and that's what we don't know, because quite often sometimes there are deals that are made before the deals, right? There are sometimes backroom deals that people say, hey, well, if you do this, I'll when I come in, when I get in, I'll sign this, and it's not even within. What was it? Not even 6 weeks had passed before.
Yes, not even 6 weeks.
I mean, had been
signed so quickly.
Very, very shortly after your term in office. I mean, there's no doubt about it. We all want to see development, and we all want to, but you've got to, you have to be responsible about your country, because this is not Alan Chasney's land. This is not Philip Pierre's land. This is not Kenya. This is land that belongs to the people of the country. So it's really important that we guard against that type of activity. And another thing I need to ask, I heard the Prime Minister say that as of next year, all preschools here, it will be universal. They'll be paying for all preschools. Now, I think there are 96 private preschools, and I think 4 government preschools. Only 4 government preschools? Okay.
96 private preschools, and 4 are government-owned. Mm-hmm. Now, I know in Iceland, Norway, all of those European countries, they take early childhood it's integral. That's the foundation for getting children. And even the teachers have to be fully qualified and everything. Yes. So I'm just wondering, this is 96, because some preschools I know, they fee as high as almost 900 and something, sometimes. So I'm wondering how he is going. Because on Saturday night I was speaking to an administrator who's a friend of mine, and I was wondering, but how is he going to manage the universal? Because some preschools, the fees are pretty high. Yeah, I mean,
it's a very good question. And then how do you balance out the the private interest with? I mean, it's a similar challenge that we have with respect to universal healthcare.
Yes,
How
yes.
do you keep the private interest within it? Usually, what is going to happen is that the government is going to set a rate, within up to which they will in fact fund
The balance.
a person, right, a particular
Okay.
child or whatnot. So it may end up being in that situation. Maybe they may ask the preschools to now. There are a lot of other issues there because, in my
Yes.
opinion, too, some of the locations where some preschools are not necessarily the best.
No,
Right.
at all.
So we have to look at that issue. How do you create good spaces? I mean, and then there's also the distinction between daycare, which might
And
be,
preschool.
and preschool, right? And
Yes.
as children grow, but even so, they need space. They need to be able to run around. They need to be able to interact. I mean, the whole word itself, the German word kindergarten, is a
Yes,
children's
yes.
garden. You're
Yes.
expected to have some level of physical interaction, physical activity that would ideally be in a space that has,
Yeah,
opportunity
and
to
some of
play.
these lack, and I know people, they can't even play preschool for the children. Some people
Yes.
put children into preschool as late as when they turn 4 because financially it's not able to, send them at all. The time for a child to enter into early childhood education is at 2.5. But most times you find people wait until they're 4, so they just do 1 year in early childhood, and no, they don't need. They need as early as 2.5 years, but because of the price of some of the schools, and some others. When you go and inspect some of these preschools, come on. The child, that's supposed to be the most integral part of a child's life, and yet they cannot get. So I am just hoping that it will really, really work out.
Yeah.
Although we have some very great early childhood centers that I give a lot. By the time the children leave that place and go into the infant and primary, they excel over others that maybe come from a lesser one that did not have much. Sometimes even the teachers in this early childhood center are not really trained to work with this children. So, and that's the thing about taking early childhood very, very, very.
Yeah, the training is really
Yes,
important
it
too. You're
is.
right. The specialized training for. I know there was a program by the Taiwanese recently that actually did training for in early childhood development. But of course, it's still, in some places, like these German countries, for example, you have these vocational schools, these special vocational schools, which
because
people
at
go
first
to.
it was done. I remember it was done here because Mistress York was the administrator for early childhood, so we had to take our course here, like 2 years training. They come in and supervise us. We do in class for a whole year, and then we have to come in and work with the children, and they come and supervise us. Also, but then afterwards they move it to Trinidad, so you would have to go to Trinidad to study early child thing. Almost because the teachers from my school had gone to Trinidad, but since it's Montessori, you have to go overseas to Chicago. But I don't know how it is now, if they're still training those early childhood teachers, because at the end of the day, if you're not properly trained, this child is going to be at a loss.
There are also some opportunities in terms of the space within infant schools, primary schools, because a lot of the primary schools we're finding right now they have more capacity than they have students, right? So
yes, they do.
There is space if you
that you can have early childhood centers right within.
To try to
and how far is the work on the airport?
The work on the airport.
Yeah, being done at.
I cannot say specifically. I know they were working on the air traffic control tower, and that there was a public tender on which is still ongoing for the terminal building. There's also another aspect of it, which is the CATCOP project. It's called, which is a World Bank funded project, which is supposed to take in the redevelopment of the runway, resurfacing of the runway, expanding on the runway.
Yes, I noticed there were, although I'm not able to see, but I could have said there were lots of changes when I came in. Because like the departure lounge, I think.
So there have been improvements that SLASPA has been doing. internally with respect to the existing terminal.
But are they going to extend on it, open it a lot wider?
Well, that's you see, that's a big challenge that exists. You see, because they're doing some improvements on the terminal, right?
Yes.
But the proposal is for a brand new terminal, right, which is about maybe 400 meters or so away from the existing terminal. Well, that's not so far, sorry, maybe about 400 feet, about, let's say, 110 meters away from the existing terminal. So, that's really the question. What happens to the existing terminal once that new terminal is built? And that was one of the major concerns, in terms of do you end up having way too much space, or do you just simply abandon the existing terminal and, maybe use it for storage? I don't know. I mean, that was really, according to Mr. Shastney, he was going to utilize it as a special facility just for persons who are coming in for home porting. But I don't know that is, in fact, going to justify the volumes, because, I mean, as of now, obviously it's not happening. And how long that is going to take to be able to get to that point is a major question mark. Certainly not in the next 30 years.
Yeah, the reason I asked that, I was listening to a gentleman and Miss Amy Charles. She used to be an air traffic controller, but
yes,
right
she's now the head of airports.
Yes, and she's a friend of mine, and they were talking about the ongoing works and on the airport. And then from what she was saying, and the guy was saying that, she said the only pity is that by the time she should be going on retirement soon, but she was really, really looking forward to being around, because from what she sees and what is going to be done, I mean, she says it's really going to be something else. So if you're listening to her and the other guy, she said the works are in place to be done, and she just wished it would have been done before, So that's why I was asking about it, because, just from listening to what the two of them were saying, I guess there's a lot to be done on the 1 hour airport, and to me, I'm just looking forward
yeah,
but being itself extended and very spacious, a lot more spacious airport. Yeah.
Right, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, thanks very much for that
All
contribution,
right,
caller.
bye.
Have a good one. And, of course, if you want to call in to tell us what's on your plate today, the number to do so is 452-3046. Let's take another call. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Lunchroom. What's on your plate today?
Good afternoon.
Hi, how are you doing?
Not too bad.
Wonderful.
Right. What I've seen, the only way I can see Freefoot really develop is industry they have to bring in Freefoot.
Industry,
yes.
Okay.
To build things. They build things like Ford build cars that in other countries, fridges and washing machine, to get countries that want to develop, invest.
Well, remember we did try going down that route in the 1970s and 80s with light manufacturing, and I mean, maybe there were some entities that have somewhat survived that, like the Wynwood and Leeward Brewery, Winnera. You do have some light manufacturing still happening down in Vieux-Fort, but then I think when you're talking about the whole issue of industry, one of the major challenges is the cost of energy, right? And our cost of energy is simply not competitive in comparison to many other countries that have way, way lower unit costs. Trinidad, for example.
I never think of that.
Yeah, Trinidad. I mean, reason why Trinidad is more successful in terms of industrialization is because they've been able to have cheap electricity, right? Largely through their gas. They've got natural gas, so they've got these very large power plants like Point Lisas, and they've been able to industrialize through that means. So the factors of production have to be there, right? And one of the critical ones is that of energy. Not the only one, right? The other
Well,
one, you also need skilled
well,
labor.
what
You
I
need
was thinking as well is boat building. Trinidad is a big boat builder.
well,
Caribbean.
it has
Now,
some. It has a little bit of boat
if
building,
we
but
could get Taiwan to bring, because
there was.
could get them to just bring repair, because we want repair. A lot of people come into St. Lucia, and we have
Right.
to go else to repair.
Right. You're right, and I think one of the reasons why Trinidad has been able to pitch itself in that direction is because they claim to be below the hurricane belt. so
Yeah.
so they say it's a safe, it's a relatively safe area for shipping, and so they've pushed that. There was an initiative that was being pursued some years back. Mr. Cuthbert Didier, for example, was trying to champion that in terms of having a yacht registry on the island and
Yeah.
sort of marrying that with our diplomatic relations with Taiwan. Taiwan is a significant manufacturer of
Yeah, they build mega yachts.
of mega yachts, right? So the port of Kaohsiung, their second city, is home to a number of yacht manufacturers, and so the
Yeah.
idea was that a lot of these yachts, these mega yachts, are ending up in the
As
Caribbean
a boy
Sea.
growing up in St. Lucia, we could have built a boat in St. Lucia. We had a lot of what's called shipwright.
Yes,
And young shipwright as well. They left go to England and Trinidad and other country.
right.
But we had shipwright in St. Lucia, and we could have built boat in St. Lucia.
Well, now, and that's the thing. To look, even the United States is struggling with this challenge, right? Once upon a time, Europe, the UK, United States, they were major producers of ships, and that industry has headed to
Korea.
Asia. Korea is a
Korea
major
take nearly all
producer,
the
and
jobs.
China,
And
major,
China, yeah.
right? So they've got massive shipyards. I mean, it's incomparable at this point, and I mean, so it's very difficult as they've gotten so good at it, and
Well, that's what China said. In America, build one boat themselves can build 200.
There you go. So it's really, I mean, China has become the world's factory by far, and it's definitely a major challenge for other countries to compete. Albeit you are seeing that even the Chinese are now looking to other countries in Southeast Asia to set up shop, because their labor market is more constrained now, as more people are working, have gotten in, and the population is leveling out. So they're looking to Vietnam and Cambodia, Laos, other countries to invest themselves in certain areas, certain industries. So it is very difficult for us to compete in anything that would require large amounts of energy or large amounts of
Okay, let me
water
give you
or
a
anything
point
like
there.
that. Yeah.
Right, they did dig and widen Beaufort Harbor, and in that way to bring tourists. So if we can get gold pot holding, develop Beaufort, because we have to get people, we can't do it ourselves, and to spend some money down there to develop Beaufort. Beaufort needs developing. That's one of the best part of the island.
Yeah. And in principle, certainly, I mean, the opportunity for development is there, but we're going to still have to plan it out. And I think it's a small island. We're a very small island, so unfortunately, we've kind of figured that we need to have 2 ports and 2 airports and 2 of this, and I think maybe V4 should really become that our international gateway, and if we concentrate,
and flat as well, flat.
Yeah. So let's see how that all pans out. there is potential for development, no doubt about this. In the port of Vieux-Fort, yeah, there's a lot of land that's still to the south of the port that can be used for expansion of the container shipyard, and there's definitely a lot of.
Afternoon, Mr.
Okay, all right then, caller. Have a good one. So we're gonna have to end here in that conversation because we are in fact over time, and hopefully we'll be back again tomorrow, God willing, for another program of the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International. Do have yourself a very blessed day.